Talking to Howie Klein, and downwithtyranny.com is a place on the internet you should check out and be part of. He's got great takes on a lot of different things.
Thanks, Mark.
I wonder if you can give me a state of the state on the Democrats. I mean, we're in this miserable two-party system, in my view. I mean, it's just you may disagree with me on that. I mean, maybe you feel it does serve some purpose, but I just feel as though it
Before we go on, let me just say something. The person who was my mentor was my grandfather in terms of politics. And the first thing I remember ever hearing about politics was from him. I was very, very young. I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years old. And he said to me, never forget this. The Democratic Party is the worst thing that you're ever going to come across, except for one thing, and that's the Republican Party. And I never forgot that. I mean, my grandfather was a socialist. He loved FDR, and he used to tell me about FDR, and he loved him. But he recognized what the Democratic Party was, and he helped me to understand what the Democratic Party is too. So no, Mark, I will not disagree with you.
Okay, good deal. Then as we proceed, understanding the shortcomings, where are we with the flipping of the House and the loss of the Senate? The things that don't necessarily have to do with the presidential run, which we can get to. We only have a few minutes here, but I'm wondering, you're really good with this stuff, with vulnerable seats and where we might make gains in beating back this increasingly strong right-wing GOP push.
Yeah, and it does have to do with the president because a lot of it has to do with the kind of turnout that there is. But let's just leave the presidential race out of that and assume that it's kind of a normal turnout. Lots of Democrats come out and lots of Republicans come out. If that is the case, and there is no quirk in that, then we're going to see a big blue wave. I know no one is talking about that, but I like the idea that I'm telling your audience first that there's going to be a blue wave. And that means that the Democrats will flip more than a dozen seats, maybe a lot more than a dozen seats in the House. And I mean, I'd be happy to go over what seats they are if you want me to, but there are, a lot of swing seats now, some of which Biden won, some of which he didn't win, that Democrats can win right now. And will win. In fact, I told somebody to wait until after you and I are done speaking, a candidate who's running in Arizona's 1st district, who I feel is going to win. I've never spoken with him before, but I feel this guy is really, really smart, really well-spoken, knows how to get up on the stump, and he's running against a Republican who I feel is very, very damaged. This guy, Schweikert. Kurt Schweikert. I think it's Kurt Schweikert. Anyway, that Republican almost lost last time to an underfunded candidate. This guy is not underfunded, and I think he's going to beat this Republican. And there are districts all over the country like this. I think 6 in New York. There's 6 in California. There's 1 in Oregon. There's 1 in, or maybe even 2 in Virginia. They're all over the place, which is great. And Republicans are doing, I mean, I was listening to your show earlier and someone was talking about how Trump should campaign on abortion. Yes, he should. And other Republicans are saying the same thing. Let's go after the Democrats on abortion. Yes, do it. I agree with whoever it was who was on your show a few minutes ago saying that, because that's going to kill them. That is absolutely going to kill them.
It does seem as though that, and it did in the midterms, right? It brought out this people who are angry about the rollback of Roe. I mean, it's a horrible price to pay for that anger, but clearly,
yes. I watched one of my favorite members of Congress, and I knew him long before he was in Congress, when he was in the state legislature in Maryland, a guy named Jamie Raskin, someone, by the way, who you should have on your show. He's amazing. But I watched a video last night of Jamie speaking to Democratic activists in Phoenix. And he was amazing. And one of the things he talked about was how during the State of the Union, Biden did something that is never done. And it's like, something, the kind of thing that Trump does all the time, where he just doesn't care about convention and just smashes whatever convention there is. Well, Biden did that during his State of the Union. And that was that he addressed kindly the Supreme Court, who was sitting right there. He looked them right in the eye and talked to them about why they were wrong to take down Roe v. Wade. And Jamie, in talking to the activists in Phoenix over the weekend, said to them, "This is why women are going to rise up, and they are going to push the Democrats into big wins all over the country." He was, I think, talking specifically about the district they were in, which is the one I just mentioned in Phoenix. But I see that happening everywhere, and I feel great about it.
Sure. And
because Arizona, as my grandfather said, the Democrats may suck, but the Republicans are much worse.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. It's your grandfather said it in such a great way. And Arizona is going to become a really pivotal place increasingly, right?
I think so. Yes. Well, of course, the population is increasing in a big way, and it was, when I remember, it was a right wing state that was represented most by Barry Goldwater. He was the one that everyone thought of, and they've had a bunch of really crazy crackpot far right lunatics there, real John Birches. They still do in terms of Andy Biggs, in terms of Paul Gosar. They definitely have crazies, but the state is becoming more and more and more swing. And now they elect Democrats. They have a Democratic governor. They have a Democratic attorney general. They have a Democratic secretary of state. They have a Democratic senator and one that was a Democrat supposedly and now is an independent, Kirsten Sinema, a crazy person. We should talk about her some other time.
Yeah.
Because I knew her when she was in the state legislature as well, and watched in horror as she went first into the House, where she was the single worst member of the House, and then went to the U.S. Senate, where she was kind of back and forth with Joe Manchin of who's the worst member.
And by the way, the worst member of the House is a competitive field. So that says something.
Very competitive. Yeah. I was just talking about the worst Democrats, by the way.
Okay. Now, quick. So Howie, I'm so out of time, but just tell me about the Senate side real quick.
Right. That's a little bit tougher. It's going to take a really, really strong Democratic turnout to save those seats. Plus, look, Trump is up to it again. This weekend, where was he? He was in Ohio. What was he doing? He was campaigning for the weakest Republican of the three who are running in the primary tomorrow. So Ohio's Republican primary is tomorrow. They're going to pick the person to go up against Sherrod Brown. Sherrod Brown is very, very strong in his state, and the polling shows he would beat any of the three, but the one that he would beat the most is this guy Bernie Moreno, and Trump was in Dayton, Ohio on Saturday campaigning for this guy. So if Trump keeps picking candidates, and he always picks the weakest candidates, that will give the Democrats a better shot. The Republicans want to take back Ohio. It's a very red state these days, but I think Sherrod Brown will hold it. And if it's Bernie Moreno, he'll definitely hold it.
Yeah, it is about the choice. And then you see that played out at the presidential level as well. We can't talk about it now, but we'll come back and talk about it again. I'd love for you to be a regular visitor. Downwithtyranny.com is Howie's site. There it is on screen. Check it out. And Howie, I'd love to have you back. I've wanted you here for a long time. We share a lot of mutual pals, David Feldman and Snyder, et cetera. So, yeah.
Of course.
Okay. So I look forward to the next time too, pal. Be well and thank you.
Thank you. It was fun, and I like it when it goes fast like this.
This is terrific. Good. Howie Klein, everybody. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.